If you knew that you would die today, you saw the face of God and love, would you change?
Welcome to a very special edition of We Are Libertarians. Tonight with me we have Maya. Maya, say hello. This is not We Are Libertarians. I'm a goddamn dirty liar. It's okay. Leave it. See, we all make mistakes. It's mistake one. Welcome to episode, what is this, 5-ish?
4. Gena, are you okay?
Story time with Gena. The humor in this is right now I'm standing here looking at a book that says insanity while I have Spangle Bear in my right ear saying, Gena, are you okay? I walk into this home and I've asked these boys to speculate before I arrived, and what do? They're sitting here talking about fucking foreign policy and anarchy and would we really need a military and a fill-in-the-blank here state, and I'm just fucking amazed, people. So, to my far, far right on Storytime with Gena, which is not affiliated with We Are Libertarians,
No,
is Maya Axton, who is wearing a gorgeous We Are Libertarians t-shirt.
Yes,
Go ahead,
no
Maya.
affiliation, no anything. But the Uncontrollables and CreatyMy.com do endorse this show.
Excellent. Okay, I have an endorsement. Yay. Beside me here is Spangle Bear.
hi there.
Spangle Bear, elaborate.
Elaborate.
Yes, it's a new word. It's like explicate and elaborate. Had a baby and elaborate came out.
I'm Chris Spangle, publisher of We Are Libertarians, founder of
Holy
the
shit,
WAL radio.
time out. You are Chris Spangle, Spangle Bear extraordinaire. In this voice down here. Try it. Do it.
Say that again.
I'm Chris Spangle, and I am the god of this radio broadcasting network. Say it.
Hold on. I'm Chris Spangle, and I am the god of this radio network.
Nice. To my left, there is a gentleman by the name of Greg Lentz.
Hello.
You can see photos of him as an animated character on Facebook at your leisure.
That's right. I have to protect my identity for being affiliated with this podcast.
I do not blame you one bit. There are times when I would almost want to protect my identity from being
from your own podcast
affiliated with my own reality. That being said, I had asked these gentlemen here to warm up without me and speculate as to what tonight's big exciting topic was. And so I'm going to sit back for a little while and turn the floor over to these boys and Maya, who are going to tell me,
Maya, okay.
Right? Who are going to tell me what they think tonight's broadcast may or may not be about. So, somebody.
Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Yes.
So I had no idea this was going to be, a topic for this show. I didn't know the show was being recorded. I was just told, be at Spangle's house from 5 to 6.
We didn't speculate because Gena's been very cryptic, but from what
Cryptic isn't even as a good way to put it. Like, can you just say, like, stonewalled silent?
I think that she thinks she's about to get Michael Hastings'd. So she wants to, before she leaves for Boston, she wants to put some stuff on record. So that way, in case she's murdered.
She used the phrase personal transition.
Right.
I said I needed to trust her. So I'm going to go out and say that Gena's quitting everything else in her life, and she's going to become a professional hit person. And she's going to go around with her 4'2" ass and just, like, stab people in the knees.
Her ass,
I think
ass is not 4'2". Her whole body is 4'2". Okay, let's just make that clear.
She has a very long ass.
Gena Kardashian. So I think that knowing you and that you're a little conspiratorial, I think you're about to get murdered. So there are things that you want to tell us that you want on record just in case you don't make it back from Boston.
I mean, I could cross the street and not make it back, but Greg Lentz, what do you think it's about?
I was dead certain I was walking into like an Eyes Wide Shut party, and there were going to be people in masks, and we were going to be watching Spangle and someone have sex.
What if it was just me?
I would pay to see that, so I'd pay so much.
She could be going out to get engaged to Jahar Sarnav.
Oh my!
I don't even know who that is.
Boston bombing.
The Boston bomber. The dreamy Sarnav here on the cover of Rolling Stone. This guy.
Wait, isn't that the cover that everyone's all pissy about?
Yeah.
Like Disturbed made a massive post about.
Does this make you hot?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So that's
He kind of looks like a Josh Groban a little bit.
yeah.
I mean, you could probably sell records with that face, but that doesn't mean that I would be running away to get engaged with anyone.
All right. So that was our speculation when we kind of talked about it.
Wait, are you pregnant? Here,
Is
have
that
a
even
beer and prove it to
possible?
me.
Here,
Have a drink.
drink that beer. That doesn't really mean anything, Greg, by the way.
Oh, wow. Spangle. Continue. This
Now,
is exactly what I wanted.
I'm wondering whether the THC amount in your backwash is going to get me high.
What are you talking about? Gina does not do any illegal substances.
Right.
I-
Not currently.
I am
Currently.
I am a little worried about Gina because she does have a different demeanor than normal. She seems sad.
She's freaking me out right now.
I feel
like,
I'm gonna give
like
you a
I'm just like
hug.
Gina, like, oh yeah, let's go hang out with Gina because this shit is just gonna be insane. Just like everything out of her mouth is awesome.
Did you have a drug cigarette laced with PCP?
No, I did not.
A drug cigarette. Define to me what
He's
the
very
fuck
hip.
is a
He's
drug
very hip.
Listen,
cigarette.
a drug cigarette is when they take marijuana and they roll it like your average
That's
tobacco
called a
cigarette.
spliff.
That's racist.
I thought that a spliff was when you were breaking wood.
Spangle grew up in the Nancy Reagan era of drugs when it was called.
When they just made
Yeah,
up shit.
you doing some dope, boy?
Did you get? Did you
Reefer
pack your
madness.
Did you pack your Boeing with something bad?
No, it's not a chemically altered state.
Okay.
So,
That's my gig.
so I'm curious. Why did you guys think I was sad?
I
just
didn't say
seem-
you were sad.
You seem sad. You walk in, you just have a very. Normally, when you walk in, you're like, "Hey guys, everybody, it's."
I would use the word dazed.
Yeah. You look
Not
like
hazed.
You look like you've been
Dazed.
through some shit.
Like, I imagine if you were just coming off a weekend of having like an orgy with at least 35 people and copious amount. And you know what? Just having like bongs being blown into the air conditioning system in the place, and so all you were breathing was pot smoke. That's what I imagine. Like, and now this is 2 days later. Now you're just now recovering. That's about how you seem right now.
It's a semen hangover.
You- Your skin does look great, by the way. Very moisturized.
You've never looked better.
Thank you,
You
gentlemen.
have the souls
And
of
Maya.
millions of dead children. Well, you just when you got here, you just looked like you were going to start tearing up and crying, and like I know that something has gone on because last week. Were you here for last week's episode?
No.
I think Greg was.
I
You
was.
said, this is going to be a show that no one will ever forget because I have something that will shock the audience. And I was like, last week you said that you were 9 and had a threesome that took your virginity. You don't really get more
I
hardcore
never
than
said
that.
that the threesome took my virginity, but okay.
Either way, that was a heavy podcast. I left
I
depressed.
gotta go back and listen to that.
Children
Yeah.
frolic and oh Maya, you really, really, really need to listen to that one.
You know what? I don't want to think of you in a sexual nature because if I
Really?
do, I'll have to talk about it. And if I talk about it around Emily, Emily will kidnap you.
Aw.
Maybe
we
she's
will put a collar around your neck, lock it on, and then chain you to the bed in our bedroom. And that's all that will happen. No one will ever see Gina again.
Gina, blink twice if Maya and Emily kidnapped you.
Gina's eyes are very expressive.
Okay, so
we can get that across the podcast.
I'm nervous to even ask this, but
Okay.
why are we here?
Why are we here? Because it's story time with Gina. I mean, this is what we do on this evening.
Out with it.
Generally.
Start with your story.
Oh, well. Many stories. Life is complex, and right now I will say this, I'm not sad. I'm actually very happy. I have a hard time sometimes communicating clearly, and a lot of people have a lot of interesting communication styles, and not everybody's communication style is going to jive with one another.
Maya.
Right. And so I have been piecing together bits of information and allowing things to be assumed about me. And no, Maya, I'm not targeting you by saying that. I don't know why Spangle's being a dick.
No, I said some people have different communication styles. And I
Oh,
was
and
saying
then pointed
Maya,
out Maya.
Maya has her
Maya does have
own.
a very unique communication style that I love.
Fuck yes.
Fuck yes.
I mean, not really. It's just free of social norms.
Well,
It's free.
completely devoid of all
you, Greg.
social norms.
No, it's awesome.
Fuck you.
Again,
I like it.
Again, fuck you, Greg. I
right.
think she's sticking. I
It
think
was
it
a compliment.
stands.
No, fuck you.
Yeah. Again, okay,
Hey.
Greg, wrap your mind around this. Maya bulks all social norms. Ergo, you compliment her. She returns
Aha.
with a fuck you.
Now I got it.
Are we together now?
We're
Maya.
together now.
Okay,
We
hashtag
have now
sarcasm.
proved that Gena is of sound mind because she just went through that little spiel right there, and Greg has only had one beer and he couldn't figure that out. So
I have a 6 beer limit before I, really hit.
Maya is the winner of tonight's contest. We are here this evening to prove that Gena is of sound mind.
This podcast is over.
well, this was last
So
episode of
since
Story
there
Time
was
with
no
Gena.
evidence,
It only took 10 minutes.
a lot of things circulate, I believe, about people, and certain misconceptions are drawn and really run with. And that's something that I find to be humorous and entertaining a lot of the time. Almost so much that it kind of makes me a little twat, because I don't give a fuck what you think about me, and I will behave in any manner that I see fit, no matter what consequence you may or may not perceive coming from it. That's just the way that I live my life, so it's kind of the way that I flow. So it was interesting, like today, for example, I had a very good friend who, so here's story time with Gena. Here, guys, what's going on in Gena's life? Well, today I helped one of my best friends move, and we packed up his apartment. He has lived in this unit for a very long time, and I lived with him for a year. Last year, it's been beyond last year. It was a couple of years ago, really. Things were just really, really sour with my home life, and I left. I just drew the line in the sand, and it had to do with my child, and I upped and I left. And I ended up living with this very good friend of mine that I had known in elementary school. So he was 5 and I was 6, and you're all assuming right now. Go ahead and tell me what you're assuming. Greg Lentz.
Right now?
Uh-huh.
That he's an emotional support and the person you kind of go to lean on.
Right.
Amazing. So nobody thinks I fucked him yet, right?
No.
Awesome.
We don't think you're a whore, Gena.
Okay, step 1.
In fact, I know you're not.
Thank you,
I
Spencer.
got on Craigslist and checked. I'll go that
Yeah.
far, but I mean,
We did an extensive Google search,
Yeah.
and the internet said you're not a whore.
yes, you are not
Yay.
a hooker.
Thank you, internets. You are not a hooker.
You are not a hooker.
You're a hooker. It's not like this man is my best friend in the world. Do not misunderstand me. But he's definitely my oldest friend that I can say has seen the most of my life and been there through many, many transitions. And he was really, really there for me a couple of years ago, and he let me live with him, and I stayed on his sofa scot-free. I did not contribute to rent. His family's very type A, like exceptionally type A, like type A plus with a major Sharpie
Boo.
A.
Like they schedule out when they're going to
Yes.
do their calendars.
Yes. That is exactly the type A we're talking about.
They go on vacation and have an agenda.
Yes.
My aunt and uncle are like that.
Okay. So you're with me. And as fate would have it, his grandmother was one of my teachers in elementary school. And she gave me the only C grade that I ever received. And when
That wasn't very nice of her to call you a C.
in elementary school, yeah, okay, that's not very nice at all. And I forget what it was in. It was like handwriting. I don't know, but and my handwriting sucks. My handwriting is atrocious, but it ripped my ass because here I had been.
It obviously motivated you to work hard and get that good handwriting.
No, actually, it didn't do that a bit. It motivated me to get my grandma, and my grandma came in and talked to his grandma because.
Did she snap her fingers in a Z?
No. My grandma is a very sweet person, but they have history. They went back very far. It's just interesting to me that it's possible that my first little political grab came in it's either 3rd or 5th grade. It's one of those odd prime numbers.
You were politically organizing at 5.
Right. My grandma will handle this because my grandma knows your grandma. And the C shall not stand. And I remember coming home and being crushed and crying and saying that I would not get into college because I had a C on my report card in elementary school and just being devastated. And
So your oldest friend,
yes,
helped you move,
Uh-huh.
or you helped him move.
this is why Spangle's here, because story
Yes.
time with Gena just fucking dangles.
40 minutes later, we're like, so that's how I ate pudding.
Yes.
So your oldest friend you were helping move.
Today. So last year, I lived with him, and this year it was time for him to move. He's graduated from college. He's going out to grad school, and he had anticipated for his cunt-loving twat boyfriend to help him. And that's for you, Ed, because I love your vaginal ass. Ed will love that. Like, everyone else here is looking at me like I've just grown a fourth forehead. You'd have to know Ed. You know what Ed calls me?
What?
Guess.
Ed Coleman?
No.
Ed Coleman.
Do you know? Guess.
Vaginal sphincter? I don't know.
Cum dumpster?
Fuck you.
Cock holster.
Actually, ding ding, Maya. Thank you for being the one that pays attention. So far, Maya's the only one not getting a C here, gentlemen, and I don't see either of you going to college.
I had ADD. Get out of here.
I'm married. I never get a C.
Both of those are inadequate excuses.
High five, Craig.
High five.
High five.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you.
That just happened. Or so that you guys are all clear, because we don't have the camera rolling today. Again, Greg Lentz is to my left, and Spangle Bear is to my right. The two just declared a high five, and for real, it happened above my head.
So you're helping Ed Vaginal Asshole move out of his apartment?
No, Maya. First of all, ding, 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 Maya gets the prize. He calls me the Vag. Guess who got off track this time, Spangle Bear?
I'm sorry.
So,
in our defense, he said cum dumpster, and I said cock
sure
holster.
And you got mad at us because
neither of those is the Vag, and that is my point.
I could have gone with meat curtains.
When we've had, you could have. There are many, many euphemisms that you can use. Meat drapes would be far less offensive than cum dumpster. Sorry. Do you know why?
Why?
Because one indicates a Maya, help me here. Would it be like a
cum dumpsters where you put trash? Drapes are beautiful things.
I already said that you.
Nice.
I already said the internet said you weren't a slut.
And I was going by purpose. Like the purpose of a dumpster is what? Is where we place
it's
garbage.
Where you hold things that are
right.
Value.
No, it's where you dive for urban survivalists.
And drapes.
Yeah.
You guys are hanging out with James
It's
Neal
for
way
something,
too long.
Something that James eats out of.
Right. So, anyway, Ed was supposed to go with Steve to Boston, and it didn't work out. So, Steve called me because guess what? Bonafide road warrior. Steve and I have done many a road trip, and when we do, it's always fucking amazing. So I'm the go-to guy, which means my lifelong friend is providing me a trip to Boston, which is going to be awesome, and it's going to be an amazing way to say goodbye. And yeah, so it's like a big emotional.
I hope he's not taking a pressure cooker with him.
He's not.
Wow, way to make this very sensitive
He is
moment.
taking.
Maya just hold on, Maya.
I don't want him to get stopped at a TSA checkpoint or something and detained.
So then throw out there, is he taking a pressure cooker?
I hope he's not.
Sheldon Axton, please. So, all right. So you're taking a goodbye road trip.
Yes,
your
with
friend.
very, very, very little. This man is moving across the country in a RAV4. Is that what it's called?
Okay. Oh, he's moving. He's not dying.
Right.
That thing
Right.
is a pressure
Oh, okay.
cooker.
Well, then never mind. It is pressure. I thought you were
You guys.
about to say that he
On
has,
track.
has cancer.
No.
Wait, great way to really be a douchebag.
I
I
thought-
thought about cancer.
No.
You can only be sad about somebody if they're dying.
No, you can be sad about somebody if they're living wrong. You can be sad about somebody if they're dying. You can be sad about somebody if they're leaving. Sometimes you can be sad about somebody if they're there and absent.
Right.
There are times when you can be sad. What, Greg Lentz, are you or are you not an ordained minister?
I am an ordained minister.
What type of training is involved to call yourself an ordained minister?
Several
online test.
online classes.
Oh, no shit.
Don't you talk about University of Phoenix like that.
So, I just lost a couple words. So really, there's no spiritual training involved.
No, there was. I mean, as far as spiritual training, there wasn't so much. But I went to church my whole life with Spangle. I still, I'm relatively spiritual. But it was more about learning the differences in the religions because I can do weddings for all different kinds.
All right, so I guess learning the politically correct ways to deal with people from different religions.
Correct.
Okay, so that's what the education for an ordained minister consists of.
Yeah, I mean, it was because it was a Muslim and a Jew, and that's why I did it. But I took it seriously.
And that's why I did it.
I was trying to help someone out that not their synagogue or their mosque, the leaders wouldn't marry them.
Okay.
So
So-
he's moving across country.
Yeah. And I get the honor of driving him out there in this like big pilgrimage, this big like, you know, I don't know, like a big farewell, a beautiful thing. Because I've known this guy since I was 6. We were friends again when we were in high school.
So you guys a swan song.
But we haven't been together the whole time. Like, we went to different junior highs. We went to different high schools. But I got, again, pissed off with the teacher and left my high school in my junior year of high school. Did you guys know that?
No.
I was in... Did anybody here do theater drama when you guys were
Yeah.
in high school?
Mm-mm.
No?
Yes.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I felt picked on by a theater teacher and excluded from a very big project. And I up and transferred. I got my mommy on her. That one, woo, you don't talk about a mouth. You think I got a mouth. You
Did it get dramatic?
Spangle. I heard words that I had never heard before, and I had a pretty well evolved vocabulary at that point.
It got very cunty.
She used the word "cum dumpster."
No. Like words like sawed off as referring to a person and not a shotgun, and I was like, and then like this like long list of adjectives. Adjectives get us in trouble sometimes. They can. What was that?
I was just pointing at her.
What were you pointing at?
Maya?
I know why.
I'm good.
There was so much finger action happening. I was excited.
Don't you worry about it.
Don't you worry.
I mean, it wasn't.
We're going to watch
quite
the newsroom
shocker.
Sunday. If you want to be there, you want to be there.
I'm gonna be in Boston.
We're going to Ustream it.
I mean, I'm sad now. No, I'm not. I'm gonna be in Boston. Fuck you guys.
I'll be dumping tea.
And so, in addition to a lot, and I mean a tremendous amount of things going on in my life right now, like I said, I get to see an amazing person off, and I'm really proud of him and what he's going to become. And so that'll touch your heartstrings, right?
What is he going to become?
Who knows? His story is still unwritten, but he has the potential to do amazing and beautiful things.
Can you talk about why he's moving?
Oh, he got into a very prestigious grad school program.
Cool.
And yeah. He's going to take over the world, Spangle Bear.
And you will be his little sidekick,
No.
like Pinky in the Brain.
No, I will still be here, and I'll miss him, but he will have every ounce of support that he needs.
Is
And
this
he knows
affecting you more than you expected?
Greg Lentz, this is not the tip of the iceberg of my journey at this point right now. This is how we're starting story time with Gena. So
Because this is the least traumatic.
Of the layers involved, probably. And I don't want to say traumatic. Traumatic sounds dramatic now, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Wait, is this all going to take just one episode?
I really don't know yet, Maya.
Because we have to be able to have you say at the very end of this, and stay tuned for next week. You have to like a to be continued.
I figure when we write the comic book of the ongoings, we can do the to be continued ... in like bubble letters.
Well, I want to dive into it because there's something
There's always something.
something bubbling.
Amiss.
Yeah. There's something going on, Gena. What's wrong?
Gena is transparent, and when things go awry, I tend to broadcast that without saying a word. Like, I've sat here in this room without saying a word, and there's obviously a disturbance in the force. All I had to do was say, hey, guys, meet me at this time, and let's do this thing. Everybody was here. Everybody had preconceived notions.
Well, I'm worried because you are concerning
don't-
me.
Really? See, that's
Yeah,
that's
like
a
I'm
lot
worried
of why
about
we're
you.
here. So
Spangle's a bitch.
I know, Maya. So refer to step one. Step one, we are here today to confirm that Gena is of
Sound
Sound
mind. Ding, ding, ding. So people can have different emotions, and they can portray themselves different ways. So even if the rest of the world is accustomed to a person portraying themselves in one manner, when you hit a shift or a transition or a spot of growth, you are able to, it's important that you be able to, I don't know, I'm at a loss for words, I guess convey
Yeah.
that things are amiss in order to keep things from going crazy amiss. And so story time with Gena was started because crazy, amazing, wild shit goes on in my life on a regular basis. There's a lot of things that we don't talk about because Most people would honestly think I'm lying. Let's be real.
No, we call you the female James Neese for a reason.
Okay, see, there's another misconception I'm really trying to avoid.
No.
So part of the show is blasting down some misconceptions, things that either I've said that have led people to believe one thing, things that I have allowed people to assume and not corrected, things that, lead people to form their opinion of you that really you can't call a prejudice because you have allowed that to be broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
But it is something where you experience the way that people that do behave that way are treated. And it is, it's an enlightening experience. And I recommend that if you have the opportunity to go through that, you do. It's kind of like the Dustin Hoffman, if I were a plain woman
unusual
thing.
looking woman.
Yes,
Unusual looking woman.
Unusual looking woman thing. Maya, you are looking stunned. You weren't here for that one.
We'll explain that later.
Yeah, it's a viral video right now. Probably something on Upworthy.
Say David Hoffman.
Dustin.
Dustin.
The Graduate.
So did you have an experience like that?
For about the last 2.5 years, every day has been a part of an experience like that. So
Right.
yeah, maybe longer. A lot of people assume a lot of things about me. For example, Greg, how much wine do I drink?
Hardly ever.
Oh, really? I really don't drink much wine. I don't. People assume that I'm a wino because about...
You don't really drink. You don't drink at all. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of drinking that goes on here on Thursday nights, and you never partake.
Right, so...
And it's not like Greg's not a pusher.
No, it's not that I never partake. Greg, what have you actually gotten me to drink while I was here?
Here, a total the whole time I've known you, two very small glasses of white wine and one beer that you didn't finish.
But here's what you don't know. Me drinking that beer
It's your first one.
it wasn't my first one, but it was profound. Because I do not drink beer. And Greg managed to listen to my tastes, I would say, and found a beer that I could tolerate. And you know what? Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Bravo.
High five.
So, everything in life is connected. Yeah?
So it's like somebody saying that you're some sort of wino or something?
No. But
No, are you paying attention? She said multiple times she's here to dispel some different things and assumptions about her.
I understand.
She's not done yet. Let her get to
Okay.
her point. She was just almost there.
I love Maya. I love Spangled Bear too, but that's why Maya's here. Maya does not allow for social norms, and Maya will speak her mind and will not hesitate. And there is an element of that is necessary and beautiful and what's the word that means you can't live without it? Like, it's just absolutely obligatory. And I don't stumble for words.
Like necessary?
Necessary, we'll say. Maya, you are the necessities. You're no longer uncontrollable. You are necessity. So, yeah, to that end, we're going to dispel a few myths. And I got to say, when talk radio is something I love. Everybody in this room probably loves talk radio. If we're to a point that we can sit in here and do what we're doing, we've listened to our fair share of fucking talk radio. Amen?
Amen.
Okay. So there are some points in talk radio where it gets completely fucking ridiculous. And I'll be honest, every time and this is sheer honesty, every single time that you hear me say the word ridiculous, I am replacing the word retarded. Because I had a very, very heavy use of the word retarded for a very long time. And I'm still breaking myself of the habit because I do know people who say that it bothers them.
Oh, that's a horrible word.
I've completely erased it from my vocabulary, too.
Well, understand that when I was first introduced to the word retarded as a medical condition, it was a legitimate medical condition.
It was.
I know that I'm older than you guys, but I have, people in my family who are, the only diagnosis I've been given for somebody that I love very much is that he has, the seizures. Help me. What is this? That is epilepsy. He has chronic epilepsy, and he is clinically retarded as a result of a high fever from like scarlet fever when he was an infant. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Measles, mumps, rubella, some of
That's
that
pretty
shit.
common.
Okay. And so that was my first introduction to the word retarded. It wasn't a bad word because this was a person that I loved. It wasn't something that I associated with negativity. And I think our associations are sometimes how we come to our, what do you want to say? Our presumptions.
Perceptions.
Yes, perceptions, presumptions, even perspectives, if you will. So today's podcast, my story is just beginning, and all I can say is everything in life is connected. And if you guys, blink twice if you get that, and if you don't, buckle up. And I don't know. Help me spit words out. That's why you guys are here.
So you're really trying to dispel some rumors, or you think there's some perceptions?
No, that's a perception as well.
Okay.
I'm not sitting here paranoid or concerned or, again, giving a fuck or a flaming goddamn what anybody thinks about me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sure.
And I don't want that to be like, I don't want you guys to be like, oh, Gena's all emotional because she is feeling persecuted or whatever, because nothing could be further from the truth.
Why don't we all go around and say what we think of Gena?
No, I will pass on that. Thank you. And that's because I know your guys' hearts, and I don't need you guys to flatter me with that type of response. And
What a presumption.
Yeah. What if Maya actually hates you?
Yeah.
You know what, Maya? Go ahead. Maya, give me every last thought that you have regarding me that you care to share.
Regarding you?
Sure. And I'm sure there's not many.
Oh, there's plenty. But no, not today.
I love you. Thank you.
I would say strong, intelligent.
Thank you.
Thoughtful. Yeah. Greg.
I would say very intelligent, whimsical, very curious about life, and a free spirit in the way that I mean you want to take everything in. So you've had a lot of experiences being very young.
Free spirit, but not chaotic.
No, not chaotic at all.
Like in a good way.
I mean, she will, if there's something that interests her, she will pursue it and be glad she did, whereas a lot of people would be afraid to take the leap.
Yep.
She's very courageous or
Well,
adventurous.
if you guys are going that way, I'll spit out at least two.
Thank you.
I'd say lost. Well, maybe I'll leave it
Kind-hearted.
at lost. Leave it at lost.
Are you going to do the bad stuff?
No, it's okay.
Is lost bad?
Not necessarily. I like where Maya's going. Go ahead.
Lost isn't necessarily bad, but it's not good either. It's neutral. I mean, it depends. Or it depends. I mean, if you're lost and you don't have any drive or ambition, that's another problem. But I guess lost and misdirected on top of that's gonna be kind of a bad thing. I would use those two words to describe you sometimes.
I feel like when I'm around you, I feel like you're floating. Like there's a peace, but there's also you're not swimming. You're just kind of floating.
Me, I don't see that. What I see is that your value system is different than majority. So the things you do value are things that other people could misperceive as lost or floating, when you are really interested and engaged in those things, and so those are the things you seek out.
I would say passionate, too. There are things that Gena's really passionate about, and she's uncompromising.
Thank you. That is exactly what I wanted to leave for Boston on. It's because all I can tell you guys is right now the universe is, for whatever reason, moving in my favor. And in my 32 years, I have not seen that happen.
Yeah.
And so, Maya, I can appreciate the lost and the misguided, because I certainly have had an interesting 32 years getting to this moment right now. That guarantee you could describe as being misguided. And there were certainly times when I might have been lost. There was a point earlier when I was telling my story about going out to Boston, and when I left my friends today after helping my friend clean, one of them had set me down quietly and taken me aside and asked me, and said that he had heard some rumors about my little brother and wanted to kind of clarify things. And when I say a friend, I should also say a journalist, because many of my friends are in some form of communication, broadcasting, newsies, if you will. So, and again, friend, friends, plural. So,
Whoa, that was her cracking her neck for the audience at home.
Anger crack.
Yeah.
no, not anger.
She's about. Is Gina Martinez going to have to choke a bit? All right.
Okay.
Out with
So
it, Gina.
let me out with this, because this is the story that I want to leave on. You guys all know that my little brother was missing recently.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of speculation about whether or not he is having mental problems. And there's a lot of speculation as to whether or not that runs in my family. I will say this. All you know about my little brother is that he's my little brother. And that is because that is the way that I have portrayed it. And go fuck yourself if you think otherwise. But the truth of the matter is my little brother is my little stepbrother. His mother and his father are completely separate from my mother and father. But his mother was incarcerated when he was very young, and his father was married to my mother when I was 2, and they were divorced when I was 5, and they were married again when I was 11. And at that time, my little brother had been born, and he was only like 18 months old. So since this kid was 18 months old, he was my little brother. And that's all he's ever been. That's all he ever will be. They've been divorced for years, but there's no genetic tie between me and my little brother.
But that doesn't matter. I mean,
okay.
I mean, to me, genetics. I mean, there are cousins that grow up with each other that are like brother and
Spangle.
sister. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't she kind of talk about how there's people saying that there might be like rumors of genetic mental issues running in the family?
Oh,
Right. So, and I mean, it's a valid assumption because we are a beautiful, crazy bunch. But as far as I know, we're all of sound mind. And we've all taken the interesting thing about my family, I guess kind of the beautiful and unique thing about my family, at least my immediate family, like my mother and her sisters. They had one brother, but he passed away. But there are, my mom, my aunt. So there's 3 girls. And they come from a woman who was one of 5 girls. And those 5 girls were all raised by a man because their mother left after the youngest one was born. Apparently she wasn't ready for 5 children, and fuck him. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is that I was, my great-grandfather was painted to me as a saint, and the dynamics of gender roles in my family are extremely wishy-washy and a little blurry, which is why I don't have any trouble embracing different perspectives on gender, and I run in like amazing crowds of people.
You're gender fluid.
Okay, so I have a fluidity. I've been using the word flux. Perhaps fluidity would have been a better word at that time. I don't know. Perhaps I'm fluid now. Maybe I was fluxing then. I'm not very good with words.
okay.
So, that had been brought up, and I just wanted to put that out there and say that right now there's really no indication one way or another. I haven't heard whether or not what his diagnosis is, or if there is one. I only know that at some point he was literally physically missing, and I was told that he needed help, and my nature is that my response will always be to help someone that I love when they need it. And so, to that end, so I'm just spitting this out. I'm just trying. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of preconceived notions about what's been going on and what happens to a person or what goes on behind closed doors. And I'm not one of those. Well, sometimes I am. I guess for other people, I'm one of those it's none of your goddamn business types. But for myself, I'm one of those, this is what's going on, guys. If you think you can help, go ahead, because all I've been doing is swimming in it my whole life. So pick up a shovel and give it, and get your strong back, or, you know,
get out of it.
Exactly. And getting out of it's totally fine. Ain't nobody got because ain't nobody got time for that.
I got time for that.
Let's list the things that ain't
nobody got time for. That's
Number
a beautiful
1.
idea. That.
Okay.
Number 2, Maya. What ain't nobody got time for? Else.
This.
Oh, it's fact. We do need to wrap it up. really, I just came over to rail against talk radio and the hypersexualization and talk radio, and I didn't even get to spit that out. So every time I've ever been on a talk radio show that was like being broadcasted or funded or sponsored or whatever, they were like, so you've got breasts, let's talk about them. And it's always like a fake radio voice, and it's like a communicatory mask of nonsense and gibberish where we're all going to sit in a room and pretend it's nothing but sex. And then you read these studies that are like, men think about sex 800 million times a second. And you're like, really? I don't even think about oxygen that often.
Gena, are you getting naked right now?
I mean, Spangle,
There's what she's talking about, you.
See, here's the thing.
You pig!
But kind of Maya, he's a little bit right, because I walk around in life naked because I do not give a fuck. And sometimes that literally manifests into skimpy clothing because I found out
how little you give a fuck based on what you did on camera.
Okay.
At my house, it was enlightening. It was refreshing that someone just decided to come out in full force of not give a fuck itis and just do whatever the hell they wanted. It was wonderful. Naked woman, you.
All right.
Well, you're a very, like, I'm about as body conscious as anybody in the world for very, very good reasons. Gena.
How do we bring this into the physical realm?
But yeah, like, I think your whole attitude towards life is just sort of laid back. Like, you don't sweat what most people sweat. You know what I mean? Like, there are things that are legitimate moral outrages, and those are your priorities and not the superfluous. Or superficial.
That's beautiful. See, Spangle Bear has a way with words.
Yeah. You're not superficial.
Okay. I try not to be.
Right.
I'm not saying that I succeed 1,000,000% of the time, but I'm saying I put a very concerted effort, and I am thoughtful.
Very.
And so, anyway, that's enough about me.
So is Greg not allowed to make jokes about you going to the kitchen
Greg can
anymore?
make any joke that he wants to. I never want to censor you guys. I want you guys to speak openly and honestly and be as cool with me as you can be. Like, that's, and to that extent, I will allow it to go wherever you want it to. You know what I'm saying? I will sit back and participate in the flow, but I won't, like, correct it or fix it.
Are you talking about the human centipede?
Holy shit. And that is why Maya's here.
I know this. No one is shitting in my mouth. I am saying that.
Well, then you
100%.
might-
Goddamn right. There will be.
I will poop in someone's mouth, but I am not shitting in,
You
having
might
it in my mouth.
want to take
Really,
tomorrow's
Greg?
show off.
Well, it's a human centipede.
Greg, you would do the shit. So you would be the head on the human centipede?
I'll be the head of the human centipede.
Okay.
Can
all
I be
right.
last? I mean, I want to be head too.
And these are my
I'll
friends.
be the doctor.
You'll be the doctor.
I have so many friends.
You would totally be the doctor.
I'm a lucky, lucky girl.
You are a very lucky
So,
girl.
Gena, back to you.
What are we? I was gonna let you fade to black.
No,
The
we want to make sure.
hypersexualization of media.
Yeah, I think it is kind of done. I think it's kind of did, and I think that things can be sexy without you having to make them sexy. And I think that we have a misconception that a lot of people in our society are like grabbing and running with that.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Couldn't it be also seen this way? Why are you so against hypersexualization?
It can
Imagine
be seen
Fox News.
that way.
Imagine with as horrible and as shitty as Fox News is, could you imagine those girls, that pretty girls wearing that skimpy clothing being even allowed on TV 40, 50 years ago?
See,
20 years ago. They wouldn't have been allowed on TV. They would have been made fun of in a laughingstock, but they're proud of their bodies. Yes, a lot of dick was sucked to get where they're at, but beyond that,
Allegedly.
they are very proud of their sexuality, and they flaunt it. And they still, for as Fox News standards, they can still hold their own with that. So are you railing against hypersexuality, or are you maybe showing that you're not okay with hypersexuality being pushed in such a public manner?
Let me translate, okay? I think I might understand.
I can't wait to hear.
All right. Kim Guilfoyle, or whatever her name is on the 5,
Guilfoyle.
sits in the front with her legs out because she chooses to do that. 2-3 episodes ago of We Are Libertarians, I post a nice photo of Gena, and someone says, oh, well, you're just posting that because Gena has tits.
Essentially.
Which was not the case at all. It was just a nice picture of Gena. And Gena was not a willing participant. She was not saying, like, hey, Spangle, take a picture of my boobs for ratings. That wasn't the case at all. The person chose to see that and point that out.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
Is
it
that
does.
sort of...
Yes, it does.
Okay. I don't have a point to that. I'm just...
Well, no,
clarifying.
here's your point. If we're following the story time here, Maya just said, can't that be seen as railing against hypersexuality? Now, the conversation we had prior to this, I just stated, I literally, and sometimes figuratively, much of my life, run around naked. I might be coming out as a nudist, folks. That might be what I'm doing. High five.
I go to 2 support groups sometimes, so
I go to many nudist support groups.
Right.
I never am asked back. I don't know why.
Aw,
It's because they're racist.
Yeah.
they are. It's ain't nobody got time for
black
that.
dick.
It's because of my big black dick. Yes, Maya. That's exactly right, Maya.
Well, that's why I keep you around, Spangled
They're
Bear.
racist.
People get weirded out when
They're
it's white around the
See,
shaft.
Here's the thing.
Oh, God.
We legitimately make dirty, offhanded comments that are founded and funny to us, right?
Right.
We don't stage things, though. We're not like sitting around like, hey, I went on a broadcast one time. I sat down. I grabbed the microphone. They were like, I had just driven from Indianapolis to Washington, D.C. Believe me, I looked about then about the way that I look now. In fact, about the way that I will look 7 days from now.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess.
To clarify how Gena looks right now, she looks beautiful and vibrant.
Aw.
You're just trying to get her to come over and hang out with you and Emily later.
No,
Stop.
actually, Maya is here to say exactly what Maya needs to say, and the universe is perfect and in balance. Not that you aren't either.
Eat
I'm
that,
the
Chris.
I think you just called me unbalanced.
Oh, wow. No. You're not
Was
a
this episode?
Spangleberry.
Was
You
this
are the
episode
most-
about telling me that I'm mentally unbalanced?
See where it goes when you can make assumptions? Okay, so we're God damn it, Spangle. What was I talking about?
I don't know.
Oh,
Hypersexualization.
the last time that I was in... Okay, so...
We were talking about my
The
big black dick.
Yes.
7
Right.
days from now, you will look gross.
No.
That's what we were
DC,
talking
you just
about.
Sat down
I
in
love-
DC on the grab the microphone. You're getting ready to talk. You look
Oh,
about
yeah.
what you can
Yes.
do right now.
Because Maya is here for this reason. So I had driven so many hours, and I sat down, and I was like, this is how my trip went. And they were like, well, grab a microphone and join this gay talk radio show. And I was like, all right. And they were like, so tell us about it. And I was not being fake. I was just coming at it real. And there were like 6 guys in a basement. And I was like, I got pulled over by a cop. And it was actually an amazing fucking story about getting pulled over by a cop. And this cop showed me such...
Contempt?
No. This
Affection?
possibly, but no. This cop showed me such
Magnanimity.
Magnanimity.
Magnanimous.
Maya, you give it a shot.
Magnanimous is the root word.
Maya, you can't do any worse.
Do it. Throw it out. Magnanimous.
Hip hop.
Magistrate.
Okay.
Hip hop anonymous.
He showed your majesty.
So, this guy was so cool that it was an amazing fucking story, and I should have told it then, but they were like, was he hot? Oh, did you take off your clothes to get out of the ticket? Blah, 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 blah. And then I came back and I told a friend, and do you know what that little fucker said? Because I told him, because I got out of this ticket. Okay, let me tell you
Right.
the story. Okay, so Gena is going to Washington, D.C. in order to go to a conference, I think. Maybe at this point I'd already been to the White House, because when I went to the White House, I went in a group, and when I went to the conference, I went alone. So, again, the road warrior.
Is this when you told off David Pluff?
No, that had already happened.
Okay. I love that, by the way. That guy's a moron.
I didn't really tell him off. I just held my ground. I did not compromise. I wasn't shitty or hateful. It was just, hey, those are not facts. Those are interesting statistics. So I am flying because I am tired and I want to be in Maryland, which is where I'm staying. And I'm staying with people who do a radio broadcast. And we will pimp for them later, but not at this point because I don't want them to think that I'm shaming them.
Are they hot?
Thank you. Fucking A. That harmonic balancer that I bought for $500 was worth every fucking penny on the truck that was stolen 2 days later. 7 days later. I can't even begin to tell you how well spent my money was. So, yeah, they're kind of hot, Spangle. I'll link you to pictures.
Thank you.
And they're going on about this guy being the cop. So anyway, I'm flying through the hills of Maryland, and I'm for real flying low. and I'm not going to say what speed I was going, but it was a shameful display of NASCAR. And I got pulled over, and the cop was very, very cool. And so he approaches, actually, he was not cool to begin with. He approaches the window, and he says, "Young lady, do you have $500 to throw away?" It's always $500. What is that with $500? I get pulled. Okay. And I was like, "No, officer, I'm a college student. I don't have $5 to give away."
Did he put his pinky by his
Yes!
$500?
Yes! Okay, it's always a parable of $500. Okay, so, and remind me of that when we tape other episodes of Storytime with Gena. I want you all to ask me, what does this have to do with $500? And odds are at least 15 times I'll have the answer. So he says to me, "Can you afford to spend this money?" And I say, "No, sir, I'm fucking dirt poor. Let's be real." And he was kind of giggling, and he was like, "Well, what are you doing in college?" And I was like, "I'm studying poli-sci. And he was like, "Well, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And because I said poli-sci and philosophy, which to most people sounds like fluff and bullshit. And so he was like, "So what are you going to do with your life?" And I was like, "I want to be the first woman president." And he was like, took my license and registration, walked back, did some things on the computer. I don't even know what he did. Comes back up to my window, and he's like, "All right, Madam President, I'm going to need you to slow down. I'm going to need you to this, and this." And he gave me my instructions. And then, I shit you not, he put on his lights, and he gave me a personal motorcade for the next couple of fucking miles. Because he was like, "Slow down. You could die. Ain't nothing worth it." And I was like, "I know. I was trying to get there. I've been driving way too fucking long." But it was a beautiful moment of humanity, because I have certainly railed against cops who have shown their fair share of inhumanity. But I think today it was appropriate to tell the story of the cop who literally put on his fucking lights and gave me my very first motorcade as the unofficial future president of the United States.
Did that turn you on?
No, but it was... God damn you, Spangle! It was the feels,
Where did it touch you?
Guys. It touched me in the feels. These are my friends. I'm a lucky girl.
Your best friends.
I have good friends.
Your best friends.
Friendship is just a false construct.
It's a false contract of society.
Why do you do the same voice for me that this shit fucker
I
does?
love this.
Wait, what?
Because it sounds what you sound like.
I have a friend, I shit thee not, every time I see him, when this state is happening, this state of Gena-ism, that is this thing that people are like, "Oh my God, is she going crazy? Is she of sound mind? Is she floating? Is she here? Is she concrete? Is she feather light?" Every time something like this happens, and I gotta say, recently it's happened a lot more than it used to, he has a tendency to, like Maya, always say and do that fucking thing that needs to be said or done that is just so fucking abrasive. It's like or it's like sandpaper on the vag, and you're like, "What are you doing?" And
That's how I describe Maya. She's like
Sandpaper on a
sandpaper on the
vagina.
badge. Aren't you flattered, Maya?
She's
I
drier
was
than
not
the Sahara.
describing Maya.
If I'm sandpaper on the vag, I'm still getting more pussy than you guys.
Yes! So this individual does not believe in fate. Absolutely does not believe in fate. And that fact always comes up every time he has unknowingly said something that is so heavily fated in my own reality that it's hilarious. He'll be like, "Fate is so much bullshit, blah, 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 blah." And then he'll prove something to me in this major quest. And last night he brought to head that and a series of other things, obviously. Oh my God. They brought...
You pointed
I
out. Now I
know.
have to do it every time.
Every time. I love that my friends are 12-year-old boys. I kind of do. And I have to admit, to a certain extent, I'm a 12-year-old boy myself.
You rail against sexualizing everything. So if you say head, I've got to do the Beavis laugh.
Right. And I don't rail against it. There are times when it's nauseating, and I think you can hear it. There are certain radio broadcasts you listen to, and you're like, "Shut up, shut the fuck
Everything
up."
is soaked in sex to the point that you lose humanity a little bit.
Yeah, and it gets stupid sometimes.
Well, and the same
Right.
people that soak it in sex are the same people that are like, "Oh, women get raped because they wear slutty clothes."
Right.
Sometimes.
All right. So your friend got real last night.
Yeah,
He
he
does not believe in fate.
right. He swears up and down he does not believe in fate, and always faithfully delivers the thing that I need in order to make some major transition or life change.
Mm-hmm.
And I was out last night with some friends, and for the first time in a very, very long time, I managed to drag the baby daddy out of the house and get him socializing, which was, I know, could you fucking imagine?
I just always assume he doesn't exist because,
I've met him. I've met him. He's a nice guy.
He is. He's a wonderful guy.
Kind of quiet.
Kind of quiet. Completely non-expressive.
Right.
And it's through no fault of his own. He was expressive when I met him, and I do think that I can be my own brand of sandpaper at times, and I have worn him down to the point that I got
he's
like
just
for his own.
He's an exposed clit at this point.
For his own safety, I think it's time that we both acknowledge that we're not growing one another, that we're truncating one another, and I don't know. So transition and growth and floaty and life in the universe and blah blah blah, everything.
You've said a lot there.
I know. I said a lot without saying very much at all. But I think I'm going to give his quote the best quote of the evening, and that is, again, I love the baby daddy. I love the baby daddy, and I will never, ever regret having married the baby daddy. And honestly, it'll be almost 10 years that we've been married very, very soon. But I do not believe that he is my soulmate. And I do believe that he can do better for himself. Not better than me as a human being, but a better fit for himself. And I do think that, taking him out last night and letting him experience a lot of things, opened him up to that being a possibility instead of sitting home and waiting for me to come back, which he did for almost a year. That man sat home and raised children and did amazing things. So don't ever let me imply that he is not an amazing person, or that
I've known you for years and you've never said a single bad word about him ever. Yeah, I mean you always say that. And so was last night a step forward, or was it more of a realization?
Closure.
I hope it was a step forward for everybody. But the friend who doesn't believe in fate also got a little slap happy and just started smacking the piss out of other people. And when I say other people, I was there with two friends, the baby daddy and my Latin lover. And when I say Latin lover, I mean that in a figurative sense. But yes, my Latin lover. And so my own personal Ricky Ricardo, he's 46, gay, an artistic painter with an amazing fucking body. And
so he's hot.
Oh my God. He's completely hot, but we are best fucking friends. They're like, he's real gay. I don't know how else to put that. He's real gay. He's both
as gay as Spangle Straight.
Yeah, and there's well,
you don't know what goes on in my head.
Exactly. So there's enough. We just have such a comfortable relationship that there are absolutely no barriers between the two of us. So it was interesting. I was out with both of these men, and the non-fatalist, an anti-fatalist, comes up and starts smacking the other two. And I was reminded of this moment when I first started dating the baby daddy, when I saw a certain character trait that I wasn't like on board with, like a character trait, and not like a mannerism. Does that make sense? And I should have at that point, no, that would be a regret, and I don't want to have a regret. So I got to think about how to word this properly. I considered at that point abandoning the mission, and he managed to get through to me by way of music, actually, interestingly, and music in a sweatshirt, as it were, in a Pearl Jam black. Yeah, come on. Everybody's avoided a breakup because of music,
tell
right?
Emily all she needs is a mixtape
yes.
and a Trayvon hoodie.
Yes, and it's on. No. So, so anyway, it reminded me that I was aware once before I started molding him to fit me that he might not be the best fit for me. And so that kind of gave me strength and fortitude in my present position, because I've been doubting some things lately. I mean, it's a doubtful world we live in, kids. Maya, tell me about your doubts.
I doubt we all even exist.
See, Maya's tinfoil hat is much prettier than mine. So I keep
Are we
her
even
around.
here right now?
I know.
No, I'm serious.
Is this thing
float.
on?
I on a daily basis wonder if I'm just been in dreaming state, if I'm in a coma, and one day I'm going to wake up, and I'm actually going to be like in the future, and all this shit was fake, and I was reliving my ancestors' memories through my DNA.
When I write the book, that's exactly where you're waking up. After a fucking acid trip with a hole in your head.
See, and that's why I'm transgender, is because I'm reliving one of my ancestors' males' lives, but I'm actually a woman in the future, in a coma.
That is a very poetic interpretation.
Well, this
of perspective.
podcast just got super meta.
This
Very.
podcast just got amazing. This podcast just got done. Thank you guys for joining us for Storytime with Gena. I hope that you had just as much fun listening as we had babbling. Feel free to tune in or not tune in next week. None of us could give a flying fuck less, and I can guarantee
Actually,
you
if you
that.
don't tune into this show and all the other shows on the WLL network, I
We're
will
sending
personally
Maya.
remove your kneecaps.
Actually,
Yeah,
as
it's coming.
as the program director, I care. Tune in next week
Okay.
or else.
So everybody but me gives a flying fuck. I don't know, Linz, do you give a fuck?
I kind of do.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I like your show.
Aw.
Yeah, we
Well,
like
thanks.
you.
They
didn't
really
say that.
like me.
So I like her show.
I'm sorry. One of them really
One of the
likes
days you're going to walk
me.
through the door and a bucket of blood's going to fall on your head. But
Yeah.
You know the memes or the memes or the memes, the things that we can't decide how they're called.
I'm never coming on again.
I will admit that I have a series of them that I keep hidden on my cell phone that are the Carrie characters. So, again, thank you for being perfect and saying the perfect thing with the bucket full of blood, Maya.
hey, Chris, you need to share with her the meme I made of the kitty off of Imager.
Oh.
Oh yes.
And all of you need to remember that Carrie ended with flying knives and not a fucking finger moved. So,
Hello, Boston.
Yes. But
so don't bring a bucket of blood to a knife fight.
Wait,
That's all
did
we're
you just-
saying.
Did we just say Boston, flying knives, dead people, and blood, and then Boston?
Probably,
We
but
did.
you know what's the beauty
Hello,
of it
NSA.
Yeah.
is? And you know what the beauty of
I
it is?
pledge allegiance
Oh my
Fuck
to
the
the
God.
flag.
Yeah.
She doesn't even get to spit the beauty out.
What's the beauty?
The beauty of it is the show is all about loves and feels and hearts. If you think about it,
You know,
if you break it
terrorist that
down.
feels too.
Oh, I guess. I don't know. I don't know any terrorists, so I
Sure you
wouldn't.
do.
Yeah, you do.
Social
right over
terrorist.
there.
Oh,
Maya bin Laden.
The one over there in the pink hair.
that's adorable. All right. Well, again, thank you guys for listening. If you hung with us this long, I cannot express enough gratitude. Again, though,
And
if
get
you
on
don't
iTunes-
come
if-
back next week, I could not give a flying fuck less.
But she will care if and have feel goods if you get on iTunes. And give us a
Yes,
5-star
she will
rating.
care and have feel goods if you do listen. She will appreciate you and be exceptionally grateful for all of your support and listenership.
And probably give you a naked picture if you give us a really good review and send us money.
You know what? Just treat her nice and she'll give you a naked picture if you ask the right way. It's not that fucking hard. Naked
Okay.
pictures exist, and
Start
They
being
might-
nice to Gina.
Hey, bar wench.
naked pictures might
Hey,
be
cum dumpster.
forthcoming. Oh,
you,
wow.
Gina, naked now.
They might not, though.
Get me a beer.
You won't get naked right now.
What do you think I'm wearing under this dress?
A
I've had
burqa?
this. I have had this dress. This dress was in my senior pictures. What do you think I'm wearing under this dress?
Nothing.
Duh.
I can see those nipples.
Duh. Duh. Well, I just had to look down. I guess you can. I've been wearing this dress for 20 years, completely unaware of the fact that my nipples were broadcasting out of it.
Without
Maya?
washing it?
Well, I mean, it's been washed. It's threadbare.
Oh, not
And
every
I know
day.
exactly how large your nipples are. Not that I didn't already know, but I mean, with that dress on, I can tell exactly how big the areola is. Everything.
Purely through deductive reasoning.
Are we for real? Okay, so
We'll take
this,
pictures to show you afterwards.
No. This has been enlightening. See, you learn things when you listen to your own show.
You just
Like, get better friends.
Thicker clothing, perhaps. Maybe not. We'll see. Like I said, it's been 20 years.
all right. We'll get the electrical tape right after we end here. So,
All right.
say goodnight, Gina.
Good night, Gina.